Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Phoebe, thank you very much for your warm introduction. Once again, yes, my name is Stephen Dra, and I am going to be the moderator for this session. My task, together with a team of panelists, is to just energize participants to choose a career path by the end of the 1 hour and a half session that we're just going to have. And the schedule for this discussion will basically entail an introduction by the panelists, a panel discussion, then we'll move on to answering of questions from the audience, and then we'll have some closing remarks from our panelists. So today, our focus areas will basically be environmental, social, and governance. We'll also be discussing corporate real estate and facilities management. We'll be discussing real estate finance and investment, and then real estate research and advisory. And now to facilitate our discussion, we have 4 panelists of varying professional backgrounds. First on our list, we have surveyor Mrs. Cherewa Osei Mensah. She is an ESG expert at Consolidated Bank currently. She occupied the position of the ESRM officer at Access Bank. She is a member of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors and also an expert in environmental issues. Second on our list, we have surveyor Mrs. Ohui Ekwia Dakwa Caesar Dunu, who is also a member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, a member of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors, a member of the International Facilities Management Association, and Madam Ehui will be helping us with the corporate real estate and FM or facilities management segment. We also have on our list surveyor Edward Nyakon, who is currently the business development head, strategic initiative, home loans at First National Bank, Ghana. He has over 25 years of experience in the real estate industry. He is a member of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors and a member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. And Surveyor Edward will handle the real estate, finance, and investment bit of our discussion. Finally, we have Surveyor Charles Macharia, who is the head of strategic consulting at Knight Frank, Kenya. He is a member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors and a member of the Institution of Surveyors, Kenya. He is a certified public accountant. He's certified as a public account personnel from the Strathmore University. And so Surveyor Charles will be helping us with the real estate research and advisory bit of our discussion. I welcome our panelists to the maiden edition of the Orient Real Estate Career Launchpad. Okay, so to start with our discussion, we'll have our panelists introduce themselves briefly. They'll talk about what they do on a daily basis, what they do, who they are, and some skill requirements into what they basically do. Okay, so to begin with our discussion, we'll invite Surveyor Mrs. Cherewa to introduce herself, and then we can move on from there. Surveyor Mrs. Cherewa Osei Mensah. Okay, while we wait for her, can we then move on to Surveyor Mrs. Ohui Ekwia Dakwa Caesar? We'd like you to basically introduce yourself. Let us know what you do.
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Ohui. So I'm a corporate real estate and facilities management consultant, basic or professional. So basically, corporate real estate is about planning, acquiring, managing, and administrating properties on behalf of a company, whilst facilities management basically is integrating people, places, and processes and technology in the built environment. Usually, we use various approaches to ensure the proper functioning of the built environment. So with what I do, I represent, or I'm a form of a caretaker for either a company or for the property I manage. Because if you manage a property, you are managing it on behalf of a property owner who is maybe a developer or a landlord who doesn't have the key expertise in managing his facility. So the person brings you in. And if you are doing it on behalf of a company, basically the company wants to focus on their core business. So you are part of like a support service that ensures that their properties function well. So basically, depending on where you are placed in as a facilities management manager or a corporate real estate manager, you have various responsibilities that you have to undertake. If you are managing a property, a commercial property as a facilities manager, then you make sure that the day-to-day running of the property is in your control. So operations, ensuring that you put in planned and preventive maintenance, ensure the health and safety of your client or your tenants and their third-party clients. Then you also ensure that their leases and documentations are done well. So basically, that's what you do for facilities management if you are doing it for maybe a corporate an office, let's take it as a commercial property. You can be a facilities manager for a school. So you ensure that every facility or every component of the school is functioning well. If it's a hospital, you are making sure that every component are functioning well. So day to day, you ensure that everything. And it also entails managing the human force, because there are certain things that you will have, you don't use machines all the time. So you have staff doing janitorial services, that is the cleaning. You have people who are in charge of the ensuring that the ACs are functioning and all that. So that is basically what facilities management does when you are managing properties. With the corporate real estate, you will have to give strategic advice when to sell the property, when to purchase a property. Okay, so maybe this our property is not functioning well. Maybe we have to go into a JV or a joint venture with a different company so that it goes well. So it's all about advisory and making sure that strategies are put in place well to ensure the betterment of whatever facility or whatever property you are managing, be it on behalf of a company or an individual. Yes, I think I'll rest here.
Okay, so Surveyor Ewi, thank you so much for that interesting introduction. We'll move ahead to Surveyor Charles Masharia to basically introduce himself like Surveyor Ewi did. Let us know what typically he does on a daily basis in his field. Surveyor Charles.
Thank you, Stephen. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you. My name is Charles Masharia, and it's my absolute pleasure to be here. By profession, I'm a chartered surveyor with over 18 years experience in the real estate sector across various disciplines that include valuations, estate agency, project management, and my current role as the head of strategic consulting at Knight Frank Kenya. A bit about Knight Frank Kenya. We are a global real estate consultancy firm with over 600 employees in Africa, and we are based in 9 countries, mostly the Anglo-speaking countries in Africa. And we are a global real estate consultancy firm in Africa. We have 50 years of experience with our first branch having set up shop in Nigeria, while in Nairobi, Kenya, we have 25 years in experience in the local market. That said, though I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya, we have a Pan-African reach, and where we undertake various real estate consultancy services in majority of the African countries. Our real estate services include the traditional real estate services that include property management, real estate agency, the development consultancy, and in the recent past have specialized in various specialized asset classes like data centers, healthcare facilities, and retail consulting. Now, with regard to strategic consulting, our day-to-day activities primarily involve undertaking research on behalf of various clientele, and this takes the form of undertaking either strategic advisory for various clients with various portfolios, asset classes, or undertaking highest and best use studies for particular clients with various asset classes. So what we normally do is in the highest and best use, which is a step up from the traditional valuation services, is that we advise clients on the best return on their investment should they decide to invest in the particular product. Other than that, we are involved in undertaking various market studies, and this can be bespoke depending on various clients' requirements, right? So various clients may require to know about various aspects of a market, and what we do, we walk the journey with them in terms of really unpacking what exactly is what entails that specific element of the real estate market that they want to investigate. So it can be across the board, whether it be issues to do with development approvals, whether it be due to which sector is performing best, what types of returns are there, and so on and so forth. So we provide strategic bespoke reports to various clients. Other than that, we're involved in research based on our various service lines that we heavily rely on for our day-to-day business, and we produce various research. Our various flagship reports include the Africa report that covers the real estate market landscape across Africa. So I'd suggest you look it up. So we investigate various markets and the various market trends that are associated with the various real estate markets with regards to the various asset classes when it comes to things to do with like performance and returns. So we also produce various reports with regards to the various markets that we're in. And we have the distinct advantage of actually having our ear to the ground based on our geographical reach within the continent. That is it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Surveyor Charles. That was really a comprehensive introduction there. You can see that you're really doing a lot at Knight Frank. Thank you so much. So our other two panelists will join us as we move on. Once they come in, we would introduce them along the line. So we'll move on to our next segment of our discussion, where we'll be asking our panelists questions, and then they will answer accordingly. So Surveyor Ahui will briefly just like to know what led you to choosing your current career. What basically informed your decision to be into corporate real estate and facilities management?
Okay, so initially when I started the career, my senior cousin was into valuation. She's also a chartered surveyor, so I aspired to be like her. But entering into the profession, I realized that there are various aspects. So I decided to create a niche for myself. So I identified what my strengths were. I realized that I like the management of properties, and I like doing property management, whether on behalf of corporate institutions or individuals. So I decided to create a niche for myself there. Then God being so good, when I started after school, when I did my national service, I joined VRA, the Volta River Authority, where I was with the corporate real estate department and performing estate management functions. Subsequently, I decided to try and get a career path that was into property management. So I went to BRO, managing the Marina Mall and other things. So it's because I aspired to be like someone, and I decided to create a niche for myself. Sometimes when we aspire to be like people, we tend to copy, which is not us. I decided to look at what my strengths are and build on what my strengths were. Thank you.
Wonderful. So we basically look at our strengths and then we build up on that. Surveyor Charles, can you help us what informed your decision to go into real estate research and advisory?
I think I was it was purely by accident that I landed into the real estate sector per se, because as an undergraduate, I studied land economics. Now, land economics is different from economics. I initially wanted to do economics in campus, but I landed into land economics because those are what my grades were. That said, just to get an entry into the real estate sector through land economics as an undergrad, that led me into the passion of real estate generally. And after graduation, it was inevitable that I seek some form of financial independence based on my undergraduate skills, and that led me into the real estate industry. Nevertheless, I found a passion in terms of unlocking the various advantages that come with the real estate market, in terms of unlocking the various, advising my clients on how they can unlock the values of their real estate portfolios. And ultimately, that's what led me towards the direction of strategic consulting, because strategic consulting not only looks at a particular element of real estate asset, but it looks at the entire life cycle of a real estate development. So based on my background in terms of what I did in the underground, and based on my passion in terms of investigating the real estate market and really unlocking the potential that the real estate market has, and bringing forth the challenges that the real estate sector has in terms of low transparency levels, led me to the career path of strategic consulting, in that now our goal and our mission is to inform not only our clients, but the general public about the real estate market by providing them with credible statistics about the real estate market, that they can be able to make informed decisions with regard to the real estate market. So it was based on the qualifications that I had acquired under my undergraduate, and the qualifications I've since gathered postgraduate, that informed me to get into strategic consulting. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. So it was by an accident that you landed into the career you find yourself in now. But then you also developed a passion along the line, and that is who you have become now, a resource personnel, not only in Kenya, but also over the globe. So Surveyor Charles, we'd like you to continue by letting us know some of the challenges that you have encountered in your profession. You probably entered in by accident, you developed a passion. Definitely you must have encountered some challenges along the line. Can you please briefly share with us some of the challenges that you have faced and how you overcame them all?
Definitely. One aspect of the real estate market, as I mentioned earlier, is the lack of transparency with regards to the real estate market, and that is specific to Africa, and not only to Kenya, but with regards to Africa. So the lack of transparency levels with regards to the real estate markets in terms of knowing exactly the various transaction levels was and continues to remain a challenge with regards to the various real estate markets. Nevertheless, I was privileged to get some employment at Knight Frank Kenya, where I am, and we've been able, through internal initiatives, we've been able to try and unpack that challenge by developing the requisite tools and equipment to unlock this challenge. And this involves coming up with various internal related databases that can be relied on by not only internally but externally, as well as developing various data collection skills that enable us to interpret the various trends with regards to the real estate market. So a definite challenge was with regards, and still remains with regards to data collection, getting reliable, up-to-date, current data. But that's why we are in the field in terms of research and advisory, in terms of getting reliable data to get to inform our clients accordingly. On the softer side, I think there are challenges around the integrity of professionals, and with regards to the real estate market, there's a lack of transparency, there's a lack of an integrity element when it comes to various real estate professionals, I think across Africa. So you find that we based on our own internal values as well as our institutional values. I'm a member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. You find that it advocates for various professional ethics to be formed again across the board, be it integrity, respect, accountability, and so on and so forth. So those soft elements have become a real challenge within the African markets in terms of I would say, really making the markets more efficient. So you find that as much as we've made strides forward with regards to the various real estate markets and transparency, the underlying professional ethics still remain a core factor when it comes to the challenges we faced, be it in valuations when a client wants a higher value, say for a particular property, or a state agency where there may be a conflict of interest, or even in property management where there is collision with various suppliers. So I think adherence to professional ethics is a key challenge that we faced in our markets. But again, we based on our associations with various professional bodies and based on our ethics, we hope to overcome it. So that's it. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So the depth of information is indeed a problem all over Africa. It's not only exclusive in Kenya, but in Ghana as well, we have that kind of problem. Integrity, definitely we have that problem here also in Ghana. I believe it's something that cuts across everywhere, all over the globe. So thank you very much for that. Surveyor Ewi, can you please also help us some basic challenges that you face as a facilities manager, how you are able to circumvent those challenges in your career?
Okay, so first, I think the integrity issue is, well, should I say globally, because that is one thing that you really have to fight. You have to stand your ground and make sure that you adhere to the dictates of your profession and your personal principles. And sometimes it's quite difficult because you meet so many people. With facilities management, you meet so many people. You have different clients, you have different tenants, and everyone has their own principles. So making sure you stand by the right principles is very challenging sometimes, but you still have to go through and stand by those principles. Secondly, it's about managing the unskilled staff. You know that with professionals, sometimes due to our training, we are groomed to think in a particular direction. But when you have a lot of untrained staff who don't know why they should be time conscious, why everything goes, sometimes it's a lot of challenge. So you will have to try and make them understand why certain things are done well. So people management is sometimes challenging, especially when you are managing staff who are not skilled. Yes, I think those are the basic challenges I would speak about.
Wonderful. Thank you very much for that. So we'll basically like to know, the industry is becoming very competitive, okay? And definitely you must have thought of developing yourself over the period. So how do you set yourself apart from your peers to ensure that you have a unique and professional profile?
Okay, so then it will come back to creating a niche for yourself, knowing what you can do well. Then you have to learn. Sometimes we are okay and satisfied with what we learned at school. We do not want to add up to our knowledge, but knowledge continues to evolve. The sector in which we are is dynamic, and every now and then you realize that new things come on board. So you should be ready to learn. Then you should make the right networks, because when you get the right network, it's easy to get information. Joining the right professional bodies also grants you information. So you get to know what is happening in your sector, and that sets you apart. Then you should also be able to give. If you are someone who is able to give, as in teach others, people are ready to also give you, as in impact knowledge when you need it. So I think those are the factors that you can look out for.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll basically like to inform the audience that there'll be a segment in the discussion where we'll welcome questions from them. So they should kindly exercise patience. For now, we will have our panelists answer questions that I will be giving out to them. So kindly exercise patience. Thank you. I will move straight to Surveyor Charles. Surveyor Charles, how do you also manage to set yourself apart in your career? Hello, Surveyor Charles. I think you need to unmute.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Very well, very clear now.
Yes. How do I set apart? I think, again, it's know your craft, right? In terms of tick the basics when it comes to being a real estate professional. I'm very encouraged to hear the Ghana Institute of Surveyors. Locally in Kenya, we have the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya. So to be recognized and to promote credibility within your profession, you have to be a member of some form of professional organization. And I always say that charity starts at home. So within, whether it's in Ghana or Kenya or South Africa or wherever you are, you have to get the requisite qualifications, professional qualifications, to enable you not only to set you apart from in terms of your professionalism, but to build your credibility within the industry. So again, charity begins at home. So you have to be registered with the local regulatory bodies, be it in the state agency field, be it in the valuation field, be it in the facilities management field. then not only be registered with those various institutions, is that you contribute positively towards those institutions in terms of adhering to their rules and regulations, as well as continuous professional development, right? The markets are continuously changing, and you have to be adaptable to see where the markets are. You have to be able to see where the markets are going, and therefore adapt accordingly to the various trends that are emerging in the market. So in order for you to remain relevant. So, but I would like to emphasize is that you have to take as much as possible, be a registered professional in whatever subsector of the real estate market that you're in, then build credibility in terms of being in good standing with them, as well as contributing to the profession in some form, shape, or manner, so that you're perceived or you are a thought leader in the respective field. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So you just need to join a professional body, yes, and then be ready to learn, and unlearn every time. Thank you so much, Surveyor Ehui and then Surveyor Charles. I'll just like to announce to the House that we have Surveyor Edwin Nyako joining us now. Surveyor Edwin Nyako, you are welcome to the maiden edition of the Orient Real Estate Career Launch Pad. We'll briefly like you to introduce yourself. Just let us know what you do on a daily basis as the Business Development Head, Strategic Initiative, and Home Loans at First National Bank, Ghana. Thank you. So, Edward, I think we have a problem with your sound. Can you unmute for us?
Hello.
Very well, very clear now. Thank you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's very clear now. Thank you.
Yes. So my name is Edward Nyako. I work with the First National Bank. I do business development in the home loan space. And so on day to day, what I actually do is I sit in a space where we look at transactions for home loans clients. And it's typically in the space of both, either we are talking to on the demand side or on the supply side, so far as housing is concerned. So on a typical day, you meet a number of developers who have new projects coming up. And then you engage them and advise them on the type of units that they need to build or develop in the way to be able to meet the demand so far as mortgages are concerned. And this engagement does not only look at the property type and pricing, you also look at location, you look at unit types, and then also advise them on trends on the markets. That's usually for the supply side. Now, on the demand side, as we all know, with the high interest rate and the challenges for people being able to acquire mortgages, you always are trying to look for solutions to unlock the problems that people have to be able to acquire units. So on a regular basis, I have a team that look into our products and then review our products to see how the product will suit the market. In recent times, we've introduced what we call a pension-backed mortgage, which typically will help you to be able to use your pension contributions to be able to acquire a home. Previously, we didn't have a product like that. We've also looked at, Ghana, we have a lot of self-employed, and these self-employed are people who cannot easily show you the income they make on monthly basis. And that is the basis with which people are assessed when you are going to give them a loan. So what we do on regular basis, or what we've done in terms of a product standpoint, is to be able to have a product that we call Save to Home. where these people are made to save over a period, and then we use that as a basis to establish how much loan they can get. So we have, like I said, that is, I've spoken about the supply side. I've also spoken about the demand side. And also some of the things we do is also to visit developers on their sites, advise in terms of the technical aspects. What we've seen, and it goes along with a lot of developers, once they have money, they build houses with the intention that they can sell. But that doesn't really work. You need to be able to set up your sites and your development such that immediately you start development, monies can start coming in. We all know real estate is very capital intensive. And when you set out such that you spend all your money building and you do not factor the marketing and the sale aspect, you build your units and you realize that you have not been able to sell the units. So at a very early stage, it's important that you have a setup that looks at how money comes in at a very early stage. And those are what I do on a daily basis.
Okay, thank you so much. I definitely know you are solving a big problem in Ghana as regards housing provision. We basically like to know what informed your decision to go into real estate finance and investment. Surveyor Edward.
Say that again. Sorry, I missed that.
Yes, we would like to know what informed your decision to go into real estate finance and investment.
Thank you.
Was it by coincidence or I don't know? Can you share with us?
Thank you. So it's, for me, it was a very interesting one. So I started work as a quantity surveyor in a quantity surveying firm after completing KNUST. And whilst working at the consulting firm, and that was when I did my professional exams, that is my GIS. I had the opportunity of working in HFC. Now it's now Republic Bank. Now in HFC, they have what you call the Real Estate Investment Trust, and they needed a project manager to manage the projects they had invested in. So when I joined, and I joined as a quantity surveyor then, as a project manager on that particular company, anytime we attended meetings, the meetings were all about finance. And I always did struggle to understand what they were talking about. So I actually realized that to be able to excel in that role, I needed to take a course in finance. So I took up a program, MBA Finance in Legon, to be able to understand finance, because being an investment company, everything was about finance, and I needed to be able to play a key role, even though I had been given a role as a project manager. So that was how I ended up in the space of finance. And I must say that it has been a very good learning experience for me, because I had always thought that was a place for maybe accountants and those in the finance space. But the ability to be able to understand the technical aspects so far as developments, properties are concerned, and relating it to finance, for me has given me an edge over quite a number of people. I recall that after working in HFC, I moved to UT then. And I realized that it was this knowledge of finance that I had that got me to be able to get the opportunity to work in UT, since they were also a financial institution. So I wasn't just talking property development, but I was also able to link whatever I was talking about with finance. So that's how I ended up in real estate investment space.
Thank you so much, Surveyor Edward. Having a good blend of finance and then property as well. Thank you very much. We'd like to announce to the House that we have Surveyor Mrs. Trewa Osei-Mensah with us now. And so we would like to invite her to also briefly introduce herself, and then let us know what she does, what led her into what she does now. If there are some challenges that she's facing in her field, she can briefly just let us know. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and my sincere apologies. Technology can mess us up sometimes. So good morning, colleagues and students on call. I'm happy to be here, to be part of the panel this morning to share experiences, knowledge gathered over the years. So yes, my name is Shiwa Osei-Mensah. I'm a chartered surveyor and an ESG and sustainability lead for my bank. So I work with Consolidated Bank Ghana. Prior to that, I worked with Access Bank as the project and what we call environmental and social management officer for 7 years. And then I joined Consolidated Bank as the manager for sustainability and ESG. For the students on call, the ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance. And if our ears are on the ground, we would attest to the fact that is the buzzword currently. Everybody is talking about ESG, everybody is talking about sustainability. And so my day-to-day in Consolidated Bank, so for the ESG and sustainability seat within the bank, your responsibility has to do with usually within the risk management framework. Your role is to, among all other risks that are being assessed before the bank gives out money or lends to customers, the ESG responsibility is to be able to appraise the customer who has contacted the bank for a loan and look at all the environmental issues that can come up just by financing that particular project, all the social, i.e. that is people-related community impact issues that can come up in the transaction cycle or in the project cycle. And then you are also looking at all other things within your bank as far as ensuring that you do your operations in a sustainable and responsible manner is concerned. So that is my day-to-day. We usually deal with the relationship officers. In the banking space, we have relationship officers, those that we deal with on day-to-day, opening accounts, engaging our customers. So what we do is that we work with these are relationship officers to get in touch with our customers, look at the project they are financing. If it's construction in our space, what are we looking at? What are we supporting? If it's mining, are we into galamsey? Are we having indicators from the customer side that once we push money into this sector, they are going to be financing galamsey? So I'm sure one will ask, how is a surveyor and then a real estate professional into this space? Okay, so when I started my career, I didn't see myself getting into this space at all. In fact, I did my service at Lands Commission. I proceeded to work with the real estate developer at Takwa, and all I had in mind was to develop my work for myself, have my own consultancy real estate development firm. But along the line, maybe I'll join Charles to say that I ended up in the bank because, of course, for the consulting firm, as at the time, it wasn't paying for real estate. So you have family to take care of. And so for me, I entered into the banking space because, hey, I need to survive. And I think this is the highlight here for our students. I would encourage that once you come out of the university, you have an open mind. And since we all believe in a supreme being, we also know that our path can be directed in a way that will end well. So I find myself in a bank, but what I was conscious of was that I didn't want to lose what I had studied in school. I wanted to practice it. Okay, so I did my master's again in planning and development, and majority of the modules in there were the real estate valuation and all that. So I was still in my space. So when I entered into the bank, and in the course of the interview, I was asked, which area do I want to work within the bank? I said, in my space. So within the bank, either I'll do facilities management, I'll do risk management. And at the time, there was no vacancy at the facilities management then. But there was the quantity surveyor who was heading the project management desk, who was proceeding on leave. And so I had to step in. And I must say that from valuation background to, even though you have a bit of knowledge, you are not a QS. And so I had to step in, learning so much from the QSs. And then this aspect of ESG and sustainability came in, and I took it up. So I think that for me, I did not enter this space. I'll also say it's more or less an accident, but I realized that it's still related to the real estate and the built environment.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sylvia Chewa.
That makes me identify these issues. So I think that is
basically. Thank you so much.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And thank you very much for your
so
presentation.
I think that's the background, yes, I'll give. Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, so having an open mind in this evolving profession that we find ourselves, because the profession is evolving. Today, you are here, tomorrow, you find yourself practicing in a different area or field in the profession. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. So we would like to know from Surveyor Ewi, what role is artificial intelligence playing in your field? Is there any space for artificial intelligence in your field? Surveyor Ewi.
Yes, there's space for artificial intelligence. You know that in recent times, we say we have smart homes. So currently, smart homes are the itch or the new thing that comes with managing property. So whether residential, whether commercial, you have smart systems that help you regulate your management, know when to turn on the light so that you don't overuse your resources or waste your resources. So looking at sustainability in that sense. We have even in marketing, your available spaces, AI comes in to help you with your designs, creating a virtual feel for whoever is coming to purchase or rent whatever space that you have. People, you get in touch with people who are not maybe local, who are international, who are not in your space, but would also like to do business with you. So AI is the tool that you use to do whatever arrangements that you have. So AI is very, very important. And for facilities management, in recent times, the definition of facilities management by IFMA has even included technology into its definition. So AI creates a very, very key role in property management, facilities management, and corporate real estate.
Thank you very much. Sylvia Charles, you shared with us that you basically face the problem of depth of information, but the unwillingness of people to share information about their properties with you. Do you find in your profession any space for AI in solving that problem?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. AI is a definite game changer when it comes to the real estate market and our profession generally. Specifically, when it comes to strategic consulting, you find that previously you would require the services of some form of consultant with regards to real estate matters. But you find that with these open source types of AI, they can, by and large, to a great extent, answer the various general questions when it comes to the real estate market, be it when it comes to developing a strategic, a marketing strategy for a particular property, or a maintenance program based on, again, a commercial property. AI can do all those things, right? So AI is definitely a game changer when it comes to the real estate market and when it comes to advisory. However, AI only works from the data that it's inputted. So you find that there's an opportunity for professionals to build on the data that's not available in the open market. So you find that, like what we've done, we've managed internally at Knight Frank, we've managed to structure information in terms of getting the requisite data that only, say, a real estate professional can provide in terms of the various characteristics of a property, say the size, the exact lettable area of a commercial office building. If you type in with AI, say, if you had to type in what's the lettable area for a particular building, say in Kenya or Ghana, it would be hard pressed to give you an answer for that. So that is where we come in as professionals in terms of collating our data, making it reliable and accurate, so that we remain relevant even in this age of AI when it comes to the consulting space. So as much as AI is a definite game changer in our profession, and with AI comes the whole discussion of prop tech, right? So, and prop tech covers the entire life cycle of the asset, be it when it comes to developing financial models, for example, decide on whether or not to acquire property, or during valuation when it comes to the various softwares that are there in the valuation space. AI cuts across those various elements, but however, the burden still remains on the surveyor that is undertaking that particular assignment. I would say AI is just an executive assistant, but ultimately it's up to the profession or the professional to instruct the AI, because AI is still a tool. It can't replace the surveyor per se. So, and I don't know if it's a privilege, it's a double-edged sword. Yes, there is a lack of data in the various real estate markets, but that creates an opportunity for us surveyors to establish our knowledge about the various markets or the various fields that we are in, so as to make it relevant to the general market. And AI also creates an opportunity for surveyors to exploit its full potential in terms of a money-making type of venture. Say, if I was a young, say, a surveyor that's just come out of a high school, or I've just graduated, I would be more inclined to investigate the capabilities of AI and prop tech, because the advantages and the capabilities of AI are just limitless. So we have to remain ahead of the curve. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia Charles. So that is a big opportunity thrown out there to our audience. You can investigate or go into AI, see how we can incorporate AI to solving lots of real estate problems that we have. Sylvia Charles has spoken about having access to data. So it's a gray area. It's an opportunity for young graduates to venture into. Thank you, Sylvia Charles. Thank you very much. So we'll like to find out from Sylvia Edward if there is anything he would like to add to what has been said as regards the role that AI is playing in the real estate space.
Yes, thank you. So So from our space, in terms of working with developers, what we've seen is instances where, in terms of the softwares that they use for both design and construction, they've been able to integrate the two, and then helps them in terms of facilities management when they hand over these units to. And I think somebody, one of our earlier colleagues spoke about smart homes. We have developers now who have been able to make the units that they deliver smart in such a way that even when they are not at home, they have a view of whatever is happening in their houses from their phone through cameras, and also be able to tell the performance of their energy or energy consumption. Within the bank, we build data on customers to be able to tell the typical type of customer that I would say the bank will be happy to lend. And this has been as a result of data that you build over a period from those who have taken loans in the past. I also know that valuation units have a lot of data in terms of using AI to be able to tell property values before we go into the detailed process of doing valuations for the properties that we are going to pass. So that is the bit that I'll add from our end.
Thank you very much for that. Surveyor Chewa, to you again. You have been able to adapt to a trend that you encountered, in the banking sector. Can you briefly just share with us some further trends, some changes that are happening in the profession, and how it's shaping the future, some challenges or opportunities that you foresee in that trend?
Okay. Thank you once again. Please, am I audible?
Yes, please, you are. You may please speak.
All right. Yes. So yes. Once again, yes, the ESG and the sustainability space has become the new trend, which the new generation are encouraged to begin to look into. Yes, within the banking space, what has become the norm is that for every institution, there are regulators. So with the banks, we are regulated by the Bank of Ghana. If you are regulated by SEC, there are what we call sustainability or ESG performance indicators that you are expected to align with. And based on that, you report. So we have ESG frameworks for reporting, tools like before we got here, the AI stuff you were talking about, tools that helps us to gather relevant or material, environmental related, social related, governance related data, so that you are able to report on very important things that your institution, the bank, is doing as far as being socially responsible, being environmentally responsible is concerned. So I feel that is a trend now. If there's a soon-to-be graduate on the call, I will encourage that to look at this space, ESG reporting space, look at GRI reporting, there are certifications that go with them as well. We look at those space and be ready for opportunities that are out there. I must admit there are amazing opportunities. And is even going to get better. If you look at the recent COP28 that took place in Dubai, there are lots of funds that are there, green funds that are supporting sustainability courses, sustainable projects, green projects, green buildings, all those good stuff. So I believe the trend now is ESG, and soon to be graduates should look in that space. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So that's another opportunity they're thrown out to our audience. You can go into the ESG space. I may probably just say that there are limited professionals in that field, and so you can equally go into that area. Thank you very much, Surveyor Chewa. Surveyor Ehui, do you have anything to add to what Surveyor Chewa has just told us?
Well, nothing to add, but just as you said, sustainability is the new gold in real estate. So a lot of people should also turn their attention to that. Yeah. Otherwise, very soon our world will get extinct because we need to sustain our environment, and real estate is based on the environment. So if we are able to ensure proper policies and maintaining our environment well, then it would be a very good step in our profession.
Okay, thank you very much. But then back to you, Surveyor Ohui. I realized that there seemed to be some male dominance in this real estate field. I mean, the real estate industry. But now we have women going into FM, now the ESG and sustainability. We have Madame Chewa also in that space. How can we ensure gender balance in this real estate industry? Is there really an area, a no-go area for female? What do you have to say about that, please?
I think that women can venture into whatever field they want to do and ensure that they are the best in whatever they do. I think it's basically our African or Ghanaian mindset that a woman is built for this activity and not this. So with time, that was what was inculcated into us when growing up. But you realize that with modernity and the world becoming more global, you realize that the opportunities are endless. You can do whatever, you can venture into whatever career you want to venture into, whether you are a male or a female. So although sometimes it comes with its challenges, because personally, I've had my fair share of challenges because of my gender. So sometimes you realize that there can be challenges, but even that, you realize that there are some men who also face certain forms of challenges. I had challenges with childbirth. So whenever I get pregnant, I'm off work. So almost a year or a year and a half, I'm not working or I have to work online. So all these challenges sometimes come to play, but about how you are also ready to face whatever challenges that brings to you. Because there are some people I know who are pregnant and can climb ladders to inspect the rooftops and other things. So the opportunities are wide open. Just take advantage of the opportunities. And there's nothing like a male-dominated field, a male field, or a female field. We can all we can all play our part. We can all contribute our quota to whatever industries we find ourselves in. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Surveyor Chewa, do you have anything to add to what Surveyor we has shared with us?
Okay, so yes, I think that gender is one of the big issues now. When we look at the S in the ESG, is actually looking at all other things, including gender. And the drive for women to become all that they want to be. I cannot emphasize it better than the way we did. Women can become all that they want to be. Yes, like we indicated, we are usually faced with some setbacks. I can recount an incident in my previous life where I went for maternity leave and I came back, and that year I did not qualify for promotion. Those are real issues, you know. But again, systems are changing now. In that same space where I was denied promotion, now they've had to revise the policy to allow women to even go on leave for 6 months and still qualify for promotion that year. So yes, the opportunity for women here, and we encourage all the women to take advantage of it. Build yourself so much that you can also compete for the role. Usually the issues with gender are misinterpreted. We're socialized differently. So people think that when we are talking about gender inequality, we are saying we should put men down and then raise women. No, we are saying that women should empower themselves so much that we can equally go for the opportunities that are available to men. Notwithstanding all the challenges that we have faced, we have a lot of women being CEOs. You have EcoBank having a CEO who is a woman. We have ABSA having a CEO. So it means that we can also get there. So the women on the call are all encouraged that they should challenge the status quo. They should challenge the biases and go for good. Thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, women with us, you are hereby challenged to pursue all forms of path in this industry. Okay, so to Surveyor Charles Macharia, can you just share with us some of the negative behaviors that you would advise young professionals in our field to avoid?
Negative behaviors. Okay.
Yes.
So basically, from a professional standpoint, and being a chartered member of the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, we have various rules of conduct that every professional is supposed to adhere to. So just based on those rules, those are the various rules. I think there are 5 based on the rules of conduct. I think Boniface Waveri is on the call. He represents RICS. Maybe he can speak further about it, but there are various rules of conduct that every professional should adhere to. And I think these are global rules, regardless of whether you're in Kenya, Ghana, or UK, or even America. There are various rules of conduct that one should abide by. The first one is one should be honest and act with integrity at all times. And by virtue of that, being dishonest and not acting with integrity are some of the things that young surveyors should definitely avoid at all costs, right? So it's about coming from a moral perspective, but I think that's something that each one of the surveyors, young surveyors, even us, for example, should try and promote, but try and avoid basically being dishonest and lacking integrity. The second one came to about is, I think, if I can recall right, I believe it talks about inclusivity, diversity, and inclusion. So what that basically means is that we don't discriminate just because don't discriminate anyone based on their background, their skin color, their gender. Although that has different annotations when it comes to the West, I think we are all African here, and we draw the line when it comes to various elements of inclusion, and specifically when it comes to a particular group of people. I don't want to mention them on this forum, but basically the tenement just says do not discriminate against anyone just because of their race, skin color, background, or their ability to do anything. The third one, I think graduates should only undertake various assignments or jobs that they are capable of undertaking, right? So you don't go out there telling the general public that, hey, I'm the best valuer in the world, or I'm the best property manager in the world. It's only me who can do that assignment. Yet you don't have the requisite qualifications to undertake such assignments. The other one is to take responsibility for the actions. If you're supposed to take responsibility for whatever professional actions that you undertake, don't point fingers, when it comes to jobs undertaking that you had full control over. So those are just some of the things that young surveyors should avoid. But again, based on our moral compass in Africa, I think if you're not honest, if you don't have integrity, then you're just bound to fail. So if you're dishonest, it's a non-starter from the get-go. So that's just it from a professional perspective. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia Charles. So integrity, honesty, taking what you can do at a time is something that he has just shared with us. Thank you very much. Sylvia Edward, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes. So I'll say when it comes to that, and I think it's something that I find common working with a lot of young, I'll say young professionals when they join. We are trained to be very technical. And what we don't realize is that either in our profession, corporate environment, the things that sets us apart are our soft skills. And we tend not to pay much attention to those areas. For example, in our communication skills, being a team player, negotiation skills, and being adaptable in the environments in which we find ourselves. And I think it's something that as young professionals, it's important that you develop your soft skills. I've come to realize that to excel in your role, your technical skills is just about 20% of what you do. You will require almost 80% of these soft skills to be able to move you beyond forward in terms of your career. So I will say that develop your soft skills, and that will really make you different among your colleagues.
Wonderful. Developing your soft skills. Thank you so much, Sylvia Edward. So before we invite questions from our audience, I will basically just like to ask our panelists, what role is networking playing in your field? Are you really networking? What are some of the avenues you are taking advantage of in your networking skills? So we can start with Sylvia Ehui.
I think networking is everything. In this world, there's no one is an island. You would definitely need someone. Sometimes even there are certain decisions you just have to run it by someone, not because the person is better than you, but just to know that you are on course. And networking is everything. So it's very important to hold your colleagues, your classmates. Sometimes some of us don't respect our classmates very well. Trewa was my classmate, but I think that it's important to also build that kind of relationship with our classmates. Then try to also build relationship with our senior colleagues and even our junior colleagues, because information is not limited to the adults or the young people. So if you are able to get relationship across board, it helps you know more about what is happening in the career space. Then also networking with other professionals, because I told you FM comes with other disciplinaries. So if you decide that because I'm a facilities manager, I'm not going to talk to, I'm getting only facilities management friends, you realize that maybe you have an electrical problems and you need an electrical engineer. So networking should be across board. Sylvia Edwards spoke about communication. Maybe I'm a technical person, I'm not so good at communication. So you network with people who are more good at communication so that you learn from each other. So networking is everything. If you decide to stay on your own, you be on your own, you are not going to improve. You'll be the same as you are with no growth. But if you decide to network and network with the right people, you realize that you get a lot of growth. You see a lot of betterment in your professional life or professional career.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. So networking and indeed networking with the right people is the way to go. We invite Sylvia Chewa to also tell us something about that.
Okay, yeah. So to add to what Savia we said, networking is everything. Personally, in terms of career growth, career development, networking did it for me. I've not really taken an application letter to seek a job since I started my career. It's a network I had that recommended me to someone, and you are there. So and this is the positive. You don't need to know connect with someone for any ulterior motive whatsoever. This is pure professional networking. And so you are there and said, oh, okay, I know Chewa from here. If you need an ESG lead, okay, or somebody calls you, Chewa, can you recommend somebody? The first person that comes to mind is someone I've networked with, or someone who has told me about what he or she does. And so an opportunity to grow in your career. So I think that we have said it all. Network. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Sylvia Charles, my very last question to you and Sylvia Edward is that what would you do differently? What would you have done differently based on your current knowledge and experience if you were to start a new career in this field?
That's a very interesting question. What would I do differently? However, from a personal perspective, I would have I would have identified first mentorship. I would have looked towards mentorship, looked in the industry, and have been a bit more proactive when looking at the industry in the long term, because you find that, again, by accident, I was in a profession. So by then, I never had a vision of where I wanted to be, say, in 5 years or in 10 years' time. So in retrospect, I think if I established a vision for myself in terms of knowing or identifying where I want to be in the next 5 years or in the next 10 years, and creating the requisite small steps in order to achieve the vision that I would want to see myself in, then it would have been much faster in terms of my career progression as well as my progression in the profession. So in retrospect, when I just graduated, I thought I had all the time in the world. But that's a fallacy that each one of us has, I think, in terms of thinking you have all the time in the world. Time is your greatest asset, but it's the only one you can't get back. So in retrospect, again, based on the vision that I would have had and based on the requisite steps I would have put in throughout my career progression, at least I would have had the requisite guidance in order to guide me throughout my career. Not to say that it's been a bad journey; it's been an excellent journey, but that's just been purely by the grace of God. But yes, if having the correct vision in place, seeing where you want to be, and putting deliberate steps in action to achieve the vision, then that would have, I believe, would have helped me progress much faster in my career when it comes to my professional development. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Savia Charles has just shared with us the need to plan your life well along the career path that you have chosen. So before Savia Edward comes in, I would just like to invite questions. I'll ask our audience to share any questions that they have on the Q&A platform, on our platform, yes. So Savia Edward, what do you have to say about you having to do things differently if you were given the chance to start a new career path in the industry?
Okay, thank you, Stephen. So I think for me, when I was in tech, I didn't really pay attention, or I didn't really take some courses very serious. And typically courses that were not the core courses you do. You know, typically you do accounting, you do law, and I thought they were not important. But later on now, I realized that they've become very key in making decisions. For real estate development and investments, it's about money, and a lot of money. So your understanding on financial instruments and financial issues help you make that decision. It was maybe later in the day before I realized that I should have taken those courses. I knew I did them and passed through and got my qualification, but I didn't think that I paid that necessary attention. The second point is about having a growth mindset. And I think Charles did mention that. It's important that you have a growth mindset and then see yourself wherever you are as just a stage, and you are going to move, you need to move on. So what you do is that on either 3 or 5 years, set a goal for yourself and then make sure that you follow through with that goal. In doing that, you challenge yourself, and then you would realize that there are a lot more things you would do. Sometimes I look back and I realize that there's a lot I can do, but somehow I haven't been able to, I'll say I haven't maximized my full potential, especially for what I've learned. I kind of have limited myself. So first is to have a growth mindset. Second is also to have, I'll say 3-5 year goals, which you work towards.
Thank you so much, Savia Edward. So now we'll be inviting questions from our audience. If you have any question, just share it with us on the Q&A section on our platform. So the first question says, what's a common misconception about the role of a property surveyor or a real estate agent, and how can someone new to the field work to change or challenge that perception? I think he's basically trying to say that there seems to be some misconception about who a property surveyor is and who a real estate agent is. So how can someone new in the field change that misconception? Can Surveyor we help us, please?
So I think one basic misconception is that they see surveyors as surveyors, but Surveyor Edward is saying he's a QS. So we have different kinds of surveyors. We have the valuation and estate surveyors, we have the quantity surveyors, then we have the land surveyors. So I think that first of all, we as surveyors also have to educate people. So with such programs, we are able to explain to people that, okay, there are various kinds of surveyors. Now, when you see estate agents, the space of most estate agents have been people who are not professionals. So people think estate agents are just hungry people who want to sell properties. And that is it. So as I think that it is our responsibility to educate and ensure that the right thing is done for our profession to be sustainable. Because over the years, especially with agency, we have left it for people who are not professionals to handle them. And because of that, although some of them are also doing a very great job in ensuring that the right thing are done, there are some people who do not care and do not have any professional bodies they attend they belong to, and so would like to do things at their own, whatever they want to do, they will like to do it. Yes, so I think that we will have to educate, because if there's a misconception, then we have to make sure that we try and resolve or clear all those misconceptions in the system. So it is our responsibility as professionals to do it. And it starts with programs like this. Maybe we should go to the schools more. We should do more community engagement for them to know that there are different kinds of professionals and there are ways professionals work and ways that non-professionals also work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sophia. So Sophia Edward, kindly address this question for us. This person is asking, what are some types of the soft skills you spoke about?
Okay, so thank you. So the soft skills, okay, so I did mention about communication, and you know, when it comes to communication, it's not just about talking. Key to communication is listening. You know, typically as professionals, we tend to think that we know what our clients are looking for. So when clients are engaging us, we don't take time to listen to what they need. We are rather quick in telling them what the solution is. And many a time, we find ourselves, I've been involved in projects where I was working with architects, and I could just tell that these architects were not listening to me, even though I was the client requesting for their services. So that is one. The other thing, and I think maybe just to link it with being professional in our duty, you know, when I'll say when you have, let's say, an appointment with a client, it's important that you get there on time. Usually, it's very common for us professionals, for some strange reason, do not get to appointments on time. And I have made it a practice to make sure that I get to wherever appointment I have, at least 5 or 10 minutes ahead of time. The other one has to be being able to work in a team. It's usually not easy thing to do, but it is important that you develop team building skills, because the nature of our work is such that every assignment is collective. There are people you need to work with. How do you work with them to be able to get the kind of results your clients will be very happy with? The other bit is also about negotiation. Typically, people ask for service, we quote, and then they may decide that they don't want to pay us the amount we are asking for. But how have you developed your negotiation skills to be able to sell yourself so well that the client is happy to pay you what you are asking for? Sometimes I think we find ourselves in situations where you think that, oh, if the person can't pay me, then I won't do it. But the question is, if the person is not ready to pay you down, that means that you haven't sold yourself well enough to be able to earn the amount. Because usually when people know what you are capable of doing, they are always happy to be able to. And the other one is, I did mention, was on adaptability. When you find yourself in every environment, it's important that you learn the new environment and see what happens. And then on the basis of that, you see how you can bring your skill set and expertise to play so that you can make a difference, and then people will know you. I have a tendency of where I work. I make every effort to go to every unit or every department to try and have conversations or chat with them. The good thing I've realized that that's for you is anytime you have to go there or you need that unit to do something for you, it is always easier for them to do it. Right? Only if you go there only when you need work to be done for you, you don't build that kind of relationship that helps them to always reach out to you. So even if you don't, I don't have anything to do, just go say hello, have a little chat with somebody. And when you need something to be done for you within that unit, it's always easy for them to do it for you.
Thank you very much, Sylvia Edwin. So someone is asking how engineering fits into the real estate industry. He's even asking whether we'll be discussing that later. But I'll basically say that engineering fits in well in the AI space. So you can take advantage of that and then develop something for those in the real estate field to use. Civil engineering is also there, and so on, construction and so on. So there are various areas you can venture into in the industry as an engineer. Okay, thank you. This question, I would like Sylvia Chewa to help us address it. He says, I would like to know where one should start from in the I would like to know where should one start from in real estate with a background in quantity surveying and an MSc in project management. Sylvia Chewa, can you help us?
Okay, Stephen, thank you. Yes, I think I'll respond by saying that with the background he indicated, first of all, you can start from anywhere. That is the first thing. If you approach your professional career being selective, you might stay home and a whole 5 years of experience you could have gathered learning along the path until you meet what you really desire would have been lost. So I don't know where he or she is working now, but I think that from your national service stage, where you get the opportunity to start from, you build a lot of expertise and experience from there. And then also, what are you passionate about? What's your interest areas? Which institutions are you targeting? It's a very hard truth, but when you come to real estate in our market, I think the opportunities are a bit limited. And so most of us end up coming out thinking that you can't do much. But there are institutions that are not doing purely real estate quantity surveying, but they have roles in there that is real estate and quantity surveying related. So I'll speak to the banking space. If you come to the banking space as a quantity surveyor, you can be with the facilities team, because within the facilities team, there's project development, where they are into building of branches, installation works, renovation works, and all those things where your expertise can be utilized. A lot more. So I would say that just be open-minded, be willing to adapt, take opportunities that come to you at a time, one at a time, and build the experience and expertise as you get along until you meet what you really desire. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Sylvia Chewa. So again to you, I think this question borders on climate and environment. So I'd like you to kindly help us address it. He says, I would like to know how do real estate professionals help in addressing the emerging issues of climate change and other environmental issues like waste management. And on that, I'll also like to add Galamsey, which is now popular in Ghana.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So yes, the real estate professionals, I think that we are in the best position to address these climate change, the ongoing climate change, and global efforts to sustain, unfortunately, a deteriorating world. So for real estate, with the backgrounds on call, we know that we are needed right from the development, the construction stage, all the way to its management, as we indicated, all the way through to my space, where we come in with funding, financing of projects here and there, which means that at every stage within this cycle, a real estate professional is in the best position to consider sustainability. What can we do with this project concept to ensure that it is cutting down enough energy? What can we do at the design stage or at the construction stage? What materials should we consider so that it can be energy efficient? If we are producing, they are producing, how do we, even on the project, how do we manage waste to the best of our, are we considering recycling opportunities, on and on and on? So I believe that, yes, we are in that space to be able to push this climate change agenda. In my space, for instance, what we do is that if you are an entity and you are approaching the bank, yes, we want to look at your cash flows. We want to look at everything, but we're also very interested in environmental responsibility. Okay, we will not give you money when we do our due diligence and we see that you are involved in Galamsey. Yesterday, I was watching the news when one Prestia mining company, FGR or something, had their license revoked, their lease, mining leases revoked. So if I'm a bank, now this is a credit risk. My loan will not be paid because I've been financing an institution that's not doing all the right things over the last 10 months. And I wake up one morning and the lease is gone, which means that all the lending I have done will not come back, because until they operate, they will not make enough money to pay back my loan. So those are all the issues surrounding what we, the built environment professionals, can do as far as climate change and global sustainability agenda is concerned.
Okay,
I don't know whether
thank you.
the question.
That is very clear. Thank you so much. So, Sylvia Ohui, sorry. Would like to know the role of a facilities manager at the inception stage of a project. Someone from the audience wants to know.
Okay, so it's one aspect that most often we overlook, but I think that it's important for us to involve facilities management in the inception stage, because you are going to develop the property and someone is going to manage it. So sometimes when you have someone who has done the management over the years, the person is able to bring on board ideas or point out certain mistakes that were done in previous designs, so that those mistakes will not be done in the next development. So personally, for my master's, I have an MPhil in construction management, because I realized that most of the properties I manage were constructed differently. Like there's usually no linkage, but understanding what construction is will help me manage whatever facilities I have better. So it's important to inculcate or add facilities management in the initial stage, so that, example, there are buildings that maybe where even they site their waste disposal areas, even how to even clad the waste disposal areas. Sometimes we just decide to just use any material at all. But if you have a facilities manager who has worked with a particular material and has knows that, okay, this material brings this kind of challenges, when you the person is introduced in the inception stage, the person is able to make these suggestions to the construction team, who can change or adapt certain ideas that the facilities manager brings.
Okay, thank you so much, Sylvia. So this is a compliment to our panelists from Alima to Sadia Adama. She says, I'm really enjoying the responses to the question. Thank you very much. And I'm really learning a lot from our panelists. Thank you so much, Alima too. And then thank you also to our panelists. This question goes to Sylvia Charles. It seems most people want to know the avenues for mentorship, internships, training, or work opportunities. Can you please help us with that?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yes, so maybe just to highlight what was previously said with regards to the opportunities, with regards to mentorship and maybe even job opportunities. I'll go back to networking, right? In terms of getting to network, that's the only way you get to know about these opportunities and the various avenues for mentorship. I know, for example, various professional institutions have tried, at least locally, have tried to create formal structures with regards to mentorship where they bring in, they promote senior surveyors who have been in the profession for quite some years they promote those senior surveyors to take up mentorship roles and advise the younger surveyors who are currently either in school or have just graduated to make that connection between the senior surveyors and the younger surveyors. Now, that is an initiative that is being driven by the professional organizations, but from an individual personal standpoint, I would really recommend for the younger surveyors to proactively go out there and look for mentors, right? Because without that structured type of introduction with regards to mentorship and opportunities, then they are literally on their own, right? So I would really advise the younger surveyors to just reach out. It can be either through email, it can be on a personal level, and these days there are various avenues, at least even digitally, for you to reach out to a certain senior surveyor that that is out there that you think can be a mentor to yourself, obviously by their permission. But there are various avenues out there, like, for example, LinkedIn, for example, a professional networking service that not only highlights the various professionals that are out there, but also provides an avenue for being aware of the various opportunities that are out there in the various sectors. Allow me to go back to a previous question with regards to what is the role of, say, engineers or quantity surveyors in the surveying profession. Now, you find that for us, you find that in various fields, specifically for the valuation field, you find that a valuer is told to undertake the valuation of a specific asset. And when it comes to a specific asset, we're talking about plant and machinery. And you find that the surveyor, yes, they have been trained in terms of valuation of the plant and machinery, but they don't have the technical expertise when it comes to specific specialized types of plant and machinery. So you find that most of the time, if we're told to undertake a valuation, yes, we'll take up the assignment, but we'll hire specialists or experts such as engineers. If we're told to undertake the valuation, say, of civil works, we'll hire a civil engineer because they are the ones who know exactly the specifications with regards to the specialized asset class. So with that in mind, there are various opportunities for various engineers, be they electrical, be they civil engineers, and that even cuts across to even engineers, say, in the data center space, you see, because that's an avenue that we specialize in, but we have to get the technical input from the engineers for us to make an informed decisions. And by and large, the engineers are the ones who actually take the bulk of those instructions. But again, back to the initial question, I would really advocate for young surveyors to have structured networking sessions and to make them purposeful in terms of going out there and looking for the opportunities with regards to job opportunities and mentorship. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sylvia Charles. So we are getting to the end of this particular session. We'll definitely end with our panelists giving us their respective closing remarks. But before we get into that, there's this question directed to Surveyor Edward. The question says, please, I would want to know how Surveyor Edward managed to cope with the courses he didn't take seriously in school, considering he later realized their importance. Probably this person is facing a similar challenge like Surveyor Edward. We would like you to please help the person out.
Okay, so
thank you.
So I would say that, you know, once you're in school, you're supposed to pass your exams. And I actually learned enough to pass those courses, but I didn't pay a lot of attention to it like my core courses, typically measurement, building construction. And I just learned to pass the exams. Don't just learn to pass your exams. Try and understand it like you would want to understand the same way you pay attention to your core courses. And I think one of the things that maybe we didn't realize is we also didn't ask a lot of questions. Like, so I'm doing accounting. How does it relate to me being a quantity surveyor, for instance? I'm doing law. How does it relate? We searched through the courses and just went through just to pass. And I think every now and then, just take a step back and try to find out from your lecturers how those courses relate to. Because now, if you are a quantity surveyor, for instance, and you have a quantity surveying firm, you obviously end up employing an accountant who will prepare your accounts for you. Now, if you don't know, how do you know that they are preparing your accounts the way you need? And these days, you know, one of the key things is about tax. And you need to know about taxes. Otherwise, you realize that all your incomes are going into tax. So it's important that you will put yourself in a situation where you always try to get from your lecturers how those courses impact. I think we've mentioned about mentorship, which I think is also quite a good thing. Even whilst you are in school, try to find, I think Charles mentioned about LinkedIn. Try to look for go on LinkedIn to find mentors. And then begin, don't wait till you finish your courses. Begin to engage professionals who are in industry to help you understand some of the courses you are doing. And it's because I don't think at my time, I even bothered to find out from any professional, or we are doing accounting. Is it really important? How does it? So I think when you begin to ask yourself those questions, you would realize that you need to look at them differently. And I believe that once you do, it will help you set yourself apart.
Okay, thank you so much, Surveyor Edward. So I would just like our audience to note that there will be a networking session where we expect everyone interested to just share their emails, where they work, and so on. on the platform, just so we can get to know each other, behind the scene. Our very last question, we have just about 5 minutes to end this very session. And so before our panelists give us the closing remarks, there is this question that I would like Sylvia Edred again to address. He says, please, I would like to know what local and global opportunities are available for graduates who are interested in real estate finance and investment, and what the state of these opportunities look like in the long term.
Okay, so it's interesting. The person is interested in global. Well, my practice I've been in Ghana, but so let me say first of all is the fact that I have come to understand that real estate involves a lot of capital investments. By capital, I mean it requires a lot of money. Now, that money that goes into any kind of development has to be used properly. And I see that for us professionals in the real estate space, if you understand the technical bits of development, and you then get to understand the finance side, you are able to make decisions better than the person who just sits on the finance side and manages the money. Because usually when they talk about value for money and all that, you know what specifications or what needs to be done in terms of even design to get value for money. And it's important that you as the individual understand the value of how much money goes into projects, how to be able to get people to repay. Quite often, and that is what I see, people borrow for projects and they are not able to complete the projects. And it is all because, I'll say, there's lack of project management discipline, where you need to start and make sure that the project is being done. There's also poor estimating, and then issues to do with making variations or going out of scope, what we call scope creep. If we position ourselves in such a way that people recognize us as the go-to person so far as real estate investment development is concerned, you are able to guide people to complete their projects. You are able to advise them to do projects that gives them value in terms of better return on their investments. Then you'll be the one they will come to. In fact, earlier speakers spoke about green financing. Now, it's difficult to talk about any kind of development getting finance if it is not green. And globally, the more you speak to financiers who are bringing money either to Ghana or elsewhere, they want to know whether your development is green. And with all the talk around sustainability and ESG, shows that there's still a lot to play so far as we professionals in the real estate space are concerned. So both locally and globally, there lies a lot of opportunities. And on this particular webinar, there are so many things I think we've mentioned that helps you to be able to position yourself in a particular space to be able to work. And you don't need to just maybe start as a valuer or start as a quantity surveyor and just stay as that. You can delve into other areas, and then that will position you very well for the market.
Okay, thank you so much, Sylvia Edred. All too soon, we have come to the end of this particular session. We apologize if we're unable to address your question, but the panelists will be sharing their emails, and so you can contact them personally if you have any question or you need clarity on any matter. Regarding risks and the other professional bodies, there is a session where we will have people talking about those institutions and how to join them. So you can also exercise patience with questions regarding institutional bodies. So under 1 minute, whether unfortunate or fortunately, but I would like our panelists to give us their closing remarks under 1 minute. So we'd like to start with Surveyor Cherewa. Your closing remarks, please.
Okay, yes. Stephen, thank you so much. And thank you to Orient for putting this together. Well done. I think from my end, I'll close by saying that for the young professionals coming up, aside all these things that we have spoken about, some essentials like grooming, dressing well, shaving well, that's what sells you to the market. Okay. We've had instances where people come after school for service and they leave their beard unkept. They dress anyhow. And you know, believe you me, if you are a company and you want to employ somebody, you look beyond just the person's ability to work. You look at other things. Okay. Try and dress well. Try and be proficient at the basic skills. Almost everyone in the university has a laptop. But until I came to industry, I didn't know that developing a skill for Excel is very good. It puts you ahead of many people. So take advantage whilst you are home, play with the Excel, look at how to put in your formulas, everything, generate reports. It puts you ahead of your peers when you come to the industry. And then ethics, work ethics. Most of us come to the work environment. We are on our phones 24/7. And we, the slightly older generation, we interpret all these attitudes as laid-backness, laziness, and all those things. So we encourage you that aside learning all these things that pertains to real estate, add the other important skill sets as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Surveyor Cherewa. Surveyor Ohui, please briefly.
So I would say that the industry is big and there's space for everyone. So identify your skills. And sometimes it's not even what you like, but if it is thrown at you, make sure you make the best out of it. Try and make lemonade out of any lemon that is thrown at you. Then also the soft skills are very, very, very important. So as we develop our technical skills, let us develop our soft skills, because that is what sets us apart and makes us better than the other candidate. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Surveyor Edward, your closing remarks, please.
Yeah, so I have just 2 points. First is it's important that you see your career as a journey, wherever you find yourself, whether a job role or not. Make sure that don't see it as the end of wherever you are. See your career as a journey. And like I did mention earlier, have a plan, 3-year plan, 4-year plan, or 4-year goal where you work towards that. And also have a growth mindset. Growth mindsets, I mean, look for opportunities to learn, look for opportunities to explore other things. Each now and then there are new things coming. Let me just add, I remember when I started work, and the first quantity surveyor I met, he mentioned to me that, why are you coming to do quantity surveying at a point where now quantity surveying is no more an attractive profession? And that sent me into thinking. And I guess that could have informed why I've gone into project management and also gone into finance. So one is see career as a journey and then pursue and then have a growth mindset. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Surveyor Charles, your closing remarks briefly, please.
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank the organizers, as well my fellow panelists, as well as the audience at large. And just to add on what the other panelists have said, which is very, very important, is that to the young surveyors, think big, think biggest. In fact, think biggest. As the other panelists have said, there are opportunities, and the opportunities are not only local, but on a global scale, right? So think, how can I be a surveyor for, say, the largest bank in the world? Don't just think the largest bank in Ghana. Think, how can I work for the largest bank in the world? So basically, aim for the stars. So the least you can do is hit the moon. And I'm glad that throughout this session, there are ways that can facilitate this through either membership of being a chartered surveyor, and which definitely opens doors on a global stage. Who knows, maybe you may even come to Nairobi, Kenya, but the world is a global village. So think biggest, so at least you don't inhibit your dreams. All dreams are valid, but just think big, think beyond borders, think global. Thank you.
Thank you so much.